Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. Now, before we get into the news and what's been happening in and around Chelsea Football Club, I am going to let you guys know of a stream that I done earlier on Matisse's channel. So link will be in the description and a card will be here as well for you guys to check out. Me, him and Miz from the other side of the coin on a weekly basis now, every Thursday morning, do a stream called All You Can Eat Chelsea, where we discuss all the latest and our thoughts on what's going on in and around Chelsea Football Club whilst eating a snack. You know, soon it's going to turn into a fully fledged meal, but we'll see where it goes. Anyway, link is there. Do have a look. It was a good hour and a half, I think, of a discussion. Very, very nice talk that we had. Do check it out, sub to him and enjoy. Also, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded, and let's get into today's nitty gritty. So the news is obviously around Frank Lampard. Yesterday I told you that Frank Lampard is facing the sack, obviously with what's been going on at Chelsea, our devastating loss against Leicester, where it looked like we didn't even want to show up. This has now turned into a bit of a recurring theme. We've lost 5 out of our last 8 matches in the Premier League, and the record is just not good right now. And the form that we're in, the players, the body language, the manager doesn't look like he's got a clue on what to do now. Everything's just looking negative. We're waiting for clarification as to how Frank Lampard is going to get through this. Is he going to get through this? Are the board going to give him time? Is Roman going to give him the time? If he's going to sack him, when is it going to happen? We've got Luton in the Cup coming up. We've got Wolves and Burnley. We've got big games coming after that. Is it going to happen now to get someone in? Is it going to happen later? Is it going to happen at the end of the season? Well, we have some clarification that has come through over in the last 24 hours. Let's get into it. So starting off with this, just as an idea of where things are going. Check this out. Lampard current situation. He remains Chelsea manager for now, but is under huge pressure for results and performances to improve immediately. Chelsea's upcoming games against Luton, Wolves and Burnley are crucial for Lampard before an away trip to Tottenham on February the 4th. And we got some information from Simon Phillips, who quotes the quite reliable journalist Mikel Delaney. Now, Mikel Delaney writes for The Independent and is quite connected with Chelsea Football Club as well. So Simon Phillips says this regarding what Mikel has revealed in The Independent. Check this out. The board are conscious of Lampard's status as an icon and want to give him a fair chance as part of a general long-term view. So speaking of Mikel Delaney and the information that he has, he wrote an entire piece on The Independent regarding the latest with the board's decision on Frank Lampard and Roman's decision, and are they going to give him a little bit of time? Well, it looks like it. Check this out. Chelsea would prefer to not appoint an interim, which will afford Lampard more time, not under immediate threat. He goes on to write an article here, Frank Lampard, Chelsea not eyeing interim manager to replace under pressure boss. RB Leipzig manager Julian Nagelsmann and former PSG boss Thomas Tuchel are leading candidates, with the Blues preferring a permanent successor should they choose to pull the trigger. So it's clear, and I'm going to get into this article in a little bit, but it's clear that Chelsea are not in the direction of wanting to get an interim. They want a permanent, and they want it immediately if it is available immediately, and if it's not, they'll be happy to wait until the end of the season to get a manager through. Now, obviously, we've discussed this yesterday, and we said if it is going to be a permanent at the end of the season, that does open a couple more options for us, because then Nagelsmann becomes an option, Hasenhüttl becomes an option, managers that are in jobs at the moment become an option. At the moment, to get a permanent through the door now would mean either Tuchel or Allegri. And if we're talking about those two names, let's check this article out from Mikel Delaney, who gives us the latest, and which name is the leading candidate and when is it likely to happen? Let's go through it. Chelsea would prefer not to appoint an interim manager mid-season, potentially giving Frank Lampard even more time to try and turn the situation around. The 42-year-old is said to have felt his job is under serious threat in the last few weeks, as Leicester City's 2-0 win made it 5 defeats in 7 in the league. So I said 8, there we are, it's even worse, it's 7. The club are nevertheless conscious of his status as an icon and want to give him a fair chance as part of a general long-term view. While there is an awareness that they will have to act if these results continue, Chelsea would rather replace Lampard when there is a preferred candidate ready to take the job. They do not want the short-term issues that come with an interim boss. And I can understand that to an extent, but we are in such a dire situation now where we need to look for a sign. if things are going to get better. Are things going to get better? Are we going to pick up results? Because playing the way we're playing at the moment, it's a definite no. You know, and yes, getting an interim could help, but at the same time, it might not get the reaction from the players that you're looking for, because the players know it's just an interim. He's only here for a little bit of time, and then he's going to pack his bags as well. So you don't really generate that hunger unless if you're a very good interim. So let's keep reading. There is still hope that Lampard can improve the team and bring a resurgence. Some sources would point to the resurgences of Gunnar Solskjaer and Mikel Arteta after it seemed both managers were doomed, but Chelsea naturally have an idea about potential successors. Julian Nagelsmann would be their preferred option due to both his own record as well as his connection to recent signings like Timo Werner. Germany have proven the source of most recent innovations in football, and the Leipzig manager has marked himself apart even there. Thomas Tuchel would be a secondary option, although Max Allegri is not currently considered a potential candidate. For now though, Lampard is safe and will be given the opportunity to turn the team around. So there we have it. It looks like Lampard is going to have the next 3 games. That seems like the indication. The next 3 games where things have to turn out positively. And if they don't, then Chelsea could act. But they don't want to act. At the moment, it seems like the impression I'm getting is they are hesitant on getting rid of the manager halfway through the season, and they want to wait until the end of the season. But realistically, that can only go on for so long, and we know this, because if top 4 begins to really disappear and fade away, we will take action. But then that would mean getting an interim in, and that would mean trying to get a manager. Is it going to be Tuchel straight away though? That could be the solution if we're going to go for a permanent candidate right now. Tuchel is the only one that is available right now. So are we going to get Tuchel? It's all very up in the air, but personally, I think, and it's clear as the article said, Chelsea are clinging on to this hope that Frank Lampard is going to turn it around on the basis of, because he's a club legend and he's a club icon, that they want to give him that time. And this is where I have a little bit of an issue, because as I've said prior, if Lampard was someone else and not a club legend, but performing in exactly the same manner, I believe Chelsea would have sacked him already. And this is the issue. Are we really relying on someone because of their status in the past? Are we really relying on someone because of what they did as a player? You know, that doesn't make any sense. There's no logic there. I want to see something constructive, and I want to see a sign that Lampard has a solution. Right now, we don't see any sign that Lampard or his coaching staff have a solution. Giving him time until we get into the schedule that we have against Tottenham, Atletico Madrid, 2 legs, Man United, Liverpool, we're going to chop and change then? Or are we actually going to go through that with Frank Lampard in the danger that we might actually lose all of those games, plummet even further down? Because if that's the case, the club need to make a decision now. Are we happy without European football? Because if that's the case, cool, keep Lampard. Keep Lampard. Because if we end up 16th or 15th or whatever we could end up in, then, you know, that's the standard. Personally, I'm not cool with it. And I don't think Roman would be cool with it. And financially, it doesn't even make sense. You need to try and get top 4 whilst it's still possible. And whilst the gap isn't actually that huge. Don't get me wrong. For me, I reckon it's starting to get a bit too big. Because as I've explained prior, you're starting to reach a position where you're relying on other teams to lose a minimum of 3 games, and we aren't even allowed to lose 1 more in order for us to have a chance of getting top 4. Even mathematically, it's starting to become a problem. So this is why the situation is so desperate. And I want to see a reaction from these players and something that tells me tactically Frank Lampard has the prowess to pull something out of the bag and change things when they need to be changed. We're not seeing any of that. In fact, we're seeing contradiction. What used to be 5th choice centre-back in Antonio Rudiger, now all of a sudden starting matches, and Zuma's just been thrown to the bench. We're seeing a Tomori who used to be selected now going off on loan with an option to buy. We're not seeing the changes mid-game or any in-game management that's going to influence the game in the way that we've been trying to say. We're not seeing players even show any effort or run or sprint with the energy that we know that they have within them, but they're just not putting across on the football pitch. And it's not just 1 or 2 players, that would be a player problem. This is the entire team. This is everybody except, you could say, Mason Mount, because you know Mason Mount is ready to just do everything he can for Frank Lampard, because Frank Lampard is the one who brought him through. So that makes sense. But when you look at everyone else, including the signings that Frank Lampard brought to the club, there's just no reaction. Whatever we do, it just doesn't work. And it looks like even during a match, Frank Lampard looks clueless. And is that going to continue? You know, is that going to continue? I really think, and I'm worried, that this form isn't just going to go away with a flick of a switch. You know, yes, we'll beat Luton, and I really believe we'll beat Luton, and I reckon we will beat them convincingly. But then the Wolves game, the Burnley game, they're winnable games. But this is what I'm saying. Do we get to those games, maybe even win, get to Spurs, lose, then go into a run of form with the big teams, and potentially throw it all away? Or do we get a change now? Because I believe it's inevitable. When you look at everyone and what they've been saying, and I said this in yesterday's video, the signs are there. Frank Lampard is going to lose his job. Sooner or later, I think it's done. And I'll be really surprised if it's not. When the club themselves are now talking to other candidates, it only ends one way. So don't delay the inevitable. Don't delay the inevitable. And personally, I think there could be an angle here where the club are trying to get something done and secure it. That way they know they have a successor ready. Then they can tell Frank Lampard, look, we're going to have to end it. Because it would be foolish to get rid of a manager and not have anyone lined up. So there is that as well. But I just don't see anything changing. And this is why I'm saying don't delay the inevitable. Just get it done ASAP, whilst our fixture list is in our favour. When you look at Luton, Wolves and Burnley, it could be worse. It could be worse. So it would give time for someone new to come in and at least have an opportunity to get to know the squad, get to know the players, have an idea of what he's going to implement. That way, when we get to the big games, we know what we're going to do. Right now, it just doesn't look like the players are reacting whatsoever. And it's not just one man, as I've said, it's many players. We're not seeing anything from Lampard that tells us he has an idea of how he's going to change it and how he's going to turn things around. I mean, look, the truth of the matter is right now, it looks like he has 3 games. So Lamps, let's see what you're made of. Let's see. And the players, let's see what you're made of. Let's see what we pull off. And when we get to Tottenham, we can talk. Or, you know, well, we'll talk after the Wolves game, in all fairness, because they've already beaten us this season. It's not looking great. So there we are. That's the latest. It looks like Frank Lampard's job is safe for now in the context of he has a couple of games to try and turn it around. So let's see. Like we were expecting for a reaction after losing to Manchester City, and we clearly haven't got it. Let's see after losing to Leicester if we're going to get a reaction against Luton, Wolves and Burnley. And then we can talk and see if it needs to all come to an end, or if somehow we've performed a miracle and we look like we know how to play football again. It's a possibility. It's a very distant possibility, but it's a possibility. We'll wait and see what happens, but it's up to Lamps now to see if he can pull something out of the bag. This is where you show if you have it in you to succeed as Chelsea manager. So let's see what he does. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear it. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit that notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Don't forget to check out the stream. As I've said, the card is here for you to have a look at. Enjoy it. It was a good talk. And I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good one. Look after yourselves. Take care. And peace.